So today I want to go through Autonomous Data Warehouse and also the newly updated Oracle Cloud Infrastructure developer image. So Oracle is really pushing the Autonomous Data Warehouse and transaction processing. But what this really is the latest version of Oracle Enterprise Edition software, and there is an awful lot of tuning and automated deployments and optimization of the database, such as automatic indexing, and you can read all about these features on cloud.oracle.com/data warehouse. But today I want to go through how you can really get started. So obviously with cloud it can be a bit of a change, but recently I just want to talk about the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure developer image, and this is something that I use every day, and I really think you should experiment with it. But this basically has all your favorite Oracle tools already installed, so such as Terraform, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure command line interface, SQL Developer, the instant client to connect to your database in the cloud, and all the instructions are here as well. And there's also a GUI rendered as a VNC server, which you can also connect to. But what I'm going to do here today is I'm just going to SSH into the server, and I have git cloned the Terraform provider with some autonomous data warehouse and transaction processing examples. So that's what I'm going to do today, just to show you how you can save costs by stopping, scaling, creating and deleting data warehouses with the command line interface and bash scripts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go into my created folder. So don't worry about the .sh scripts that I have here. So these are just command line interface scripts which I have made executable, and I will show you shortly. So I'm in my autonomous database folder. So this is where I initialize Terraform, and it checks out the provider. And what you have to do is update your environment variables file. You can see that in one of my older videos. But what I'm going to do is let's just look at the autonomous data warehouse .tf file. So what will happen is when I apply this script, all the information such as OCIDs, users and passwords will be generated, and I will be given an outputs file, and we can see that here. But this makes it really easy to keep track of your infrastructure as code. This is really great, and this is really where the whole world of DevOps is going. So you can basically version control your infrastructure with many of the tools that you've been using, such as Git, GitLab, all of these different things. So I've applied that now, and this should be rendering in the console. So the API call should be provisioning. So my data warehouse is provisioning, and also I'm not on the page, but my transaction processing is also provisioning. So these come up really quickly. Let's just wait to see how long it takes. And just reloading the page there. So while this is provisioning, I am going to get SQL Developer up and running. So I'm going to do this locally, but you can also do it on your Oracle Cloud developer image. So let me just check this for 1 second. So 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I have been provisioning some data warehouses previously. So let me just create a new connection, and we can show how easy it is. So when your data warehouse provisions, you will be able to download your wallet file, and this contains your TNS names, .aura, and all of those details. So I just paused the video, and now you can see what is actually outputted from your Terraform script. So you have every detail of your data warehouse and also your transaction processing database. So if you just want to create one, all you have to do is remove one of the Terraform files. So now what you should really do is just paste this output file into a notepad, and this is something that you can retain and keep safe. But what you have here is all the information that you need. Obviously you can do this all through the console, but once you start using the developer tools that Oracle provides, it actually makes it really easy. And if you are using a kind of a tooling just to keep track of all your infrastructure changes, this is really great. So let me just download that there, and this is what I'm going to use to engage SQL Developer and connect to my newly provisioned data warehouse. So let me just browse to that downloaded SQL Developer file. And you also use this file if you are using third-party tools. So you can also use this with Oracle Data Visualization and Oracle Analytics Cloud. But if you're using tools like Tableau, you will also use this file to connect and build your analysis. Okay, so the password is also generated in that output file. So let me just test my connection. So hopefully this connects. It should. Okay, so we see how quickly we're connected, and we'll just save this connection and also connect. And what we can do is we can run some sample queries against the database. And in your newly provisioned database, there is some sample data, and that is running under, it's under SB and under SH and the SSB schema. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy that snippet of SQL code, and let me just navigate down to those schemas and users, and I can show you some of the sales data and randomly generated data in your database where you can run some sample queries. So let me just click on tables. So we can see here we've channels, cost, customer, and sales. So this is here, and you can, there's a lot of example queries that you can run against this data. So let me just paste that in there and I'll run it. So at the moment we only have one OCPU in the database, but let me just show you where you can get more of these queries. So I will link this in the video below, but this is a great starting point if you are using your SQL developer. And what I'm going to show in the next couple of minutes is how you can scale the database, automatically scale it with the use of a bash script and with the Oracle command line interface. So that's still running there. So obviously we would need to scale this database up. But let's just look at the service console. So previously, Oracle just announced that you can use Oracle Management Cloud to monitor your database. But what this console here does is, this is just a pre-built console, but it will just give you some information around the running SQL queries and CPU optimization and use. So let me just go back to that output file which I pasted into Notepad, and what you need to make note of is your autonomous database OCID, which is your Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Identifier, similar to AWS where you have ARNs or Amazon Resource Names. But this is really important when you are using the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure command line interface, which is pre-built into this developer image. So what I'm going to do is just show you some of the Oracle Cloud commands which I have turned into executables. So you just run a key mod on the file and make it executable. So what the command that you can run in the CLI is, it all follows the same syntax. So it's OCI and then DB, and then you can put in autonomous data warehouse, autonomous transaction processing, anything you want. But you can see here the different REST calls that you can make to the Oracle Cloud, such as create, list, delete, scale. So in this one I am going to actually scale my database. So what I'm doing here is just removing my previous Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Identifier, or OCID, and I'm updating that with my newly provisioned database. And what we can do here is just change the CPU core count to 8. So at the moment we're running at 1 OCPU. Obviously our SQL query was running to, it wasn't fast enough, so let's just scale the database so we can see how easy this is. So just run that script and this should be reflected in the console straight away. So it should come up, yeah, okay, so scaling is in progress. And this will scale your database without, you don't have to turn it off, you don't have to do anything, it will scale it in real time. So this just shows the benefit of cloud and how easy it is to scale your Oracle database. If we were to think about this on premise, it would be very hard to do, but the same goes for stopping database. So we can see my database is now readily available at 8 OCPUs, which is 8 cores on premise. So let me just look at my stop sh script. So I'm going to execute that. So all I've done is change the action to stop. But this is really good if you are 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening. You can actually stop your database and save a lot of money. You will just be billed for the storage, which is 1 terabyte of Exadata storage. And also here, the start database, which I'll execute shortly. What I executed here was just to get details. So it was just get details script. And that will spit back all the information about your database. So we can see here that it's stopped. But now let's execute our start database script. And this could be at 9 o'clock in the morning because you know it's going to be used. And we can see in the console, my DB is starting. And this can save you an awful lot of money if you start to automate the deployment, the starting and the terminating, and also the stopping of the database, and this can be reflected in the Oracle Cloud Cost Estimator. So you can interactively select how many hours per day you will be using the Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse or transaction processing, and the desired amount of days as well. So if you are experimenting with the technology, you can save yourself an awful lot of money here and make it quite commercially viable to begin that. So just you can drag and drop all of these things here, and you can save it as an Excel file, an OCE file, or a PDF. And this is something that you can reuse and reuse again, and also change the currencies, but you will have to pay for 1 terabyte of Exadata storage per month, and that is a minimum. So going back to the database, you can see it's starting, and that takes place really quickly. So let me just navigate back here. Okay, so my database is available again. So we saw with Terraform that I created all my resources extremely quickly, but the same goes if you want to destroy your resources. So here you can just type Terraform destroy instead of Terraform apply, and all your resources will be taken down immediately. But these are all publicly accessible links, and I've provided them in the description below. But you can see here now all my resources are terminating: the database, the wallet, the network, all of those. So once again, this makes it extremely popular for testing and development, but also get yourself familiar with the new technology and our cloud infrastructure. And once again, I highly encourage you to start with the Oracle Cloud Developer image. So just launch this as a compute instance, and you will have all the tools that I displayed here today already pre-installed: the command line interface, SQL Developer, and the OCI provider with Terraform. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and thank you very much.